this is Painterly Day's pattern. I'm just going to go through these a little bit. Sorry I'm being so emphatic today. This is Woodland. Love the foil, guys, and this is Flowers. And I'm sure most of you know a lot about Painterly Days because you've been so loyal and hopping on all of my demos and whatnot. So, but they are really awesome, robust watercoloring books. They are not your average coloring book. And we've been trying to get the media to realize that, which has been a little bit of a trick. So anyway, thanks for joining on, guys. If you're joining late, my name is Christy Rice, and we are talking about my new watercoloring books for adults, Painterly Days. So guys, these open up wide. I'm just going to pull back there so you can see a lot of information on the front and back cover. Get a little shot of my messy desk. 25 patterns in each, guys, with painting tips. Who on here has been using their coloring books? Oh, thank you, my glasses. They're new. They're totally new. So if anybody on here has been using these books, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're having any, I don't know, issues or concerns or something isn't working right for you, I'd love to hear about it. Just going to flip through here quickly. There's a little flower that I was working on. Double-sided artwork, guys. The paint will not bleed through, will not. Look at that heavy paint on that one. Yes, I know. I saw her. You know, we sent Amy a copy, and she was so sweet to include them in her favorite things. And I was really excited to see her paint in them. Guys, if you don't know who we're talking about, Amy Tangerine is an amazing crafter on YouTube. Thanks for the hearts, guys, so much. She just does a lot of fun stuff, and she loves watercolor. We sent her a book, and she included the book in her favorite things. Hey, Allison. Thanks for watching. Flipping through here. I was working on this one. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying reading about the flowers. So if you guys follow me on YouTube, this pattern is the one that I painted with my doctor, the cousin, my doctor. I don't even know what I'm saying. My brain is shot. Anyway. My cousin, who is a doctor, who's never painted before. We painted together, and this was my painting. And guys, I got to tell you, hers looked a lot like mine. It was really cool to see her enjoy the process so much. Anyway, I'm just babbling, but slipping through here a little bit. All right, cool. So I am going to get started here, guys. So I said it was viewer's choice. Does anybody have a request, whether I paint from Woodland, flower, or pattern? You guys tell me what you'd prefer, and if there's a specific pattern in any of these books that you'd like me to paint in. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, I will just pick one.
Go through the mail nicely, and it might even just be as simple as
anybody, any takers in the flower? Okay, we'll do something in the flower. Anybody have a request?
So there's lots of different options that we can definitely explore with you.
That is so good to see when you don't finish a page when you start one. Yeah, guys, I'm really bad at finishing a page, so don't ever feel guilty for not finishing your page. Really.
This morning,
all right, let's see. I could do pomegranates. Pomegranates and kumquats and plumeria. Maybe I'll do that one. Alright, guys, I'm going to flip my back cover here underneath my page, because that will protect, even though I have yet to have anything go through, which is kind of cool. And I think I am just going to hold the phone here so you can get a really nice close-up of what I'm working on. Here's my palette. Just getting this thing open here. Get some water going here. I'm going to give you guys a look at that.
So that welcome kit that we send out to you.
And guys, if you'd like to invite, it's a good thing. You do not obsess about a page. No, guys, I really don't obsess about a page. And to that point, I just did an event at my local library here at the community, 30 women. Oh, thank you. And the one thing I said was this coloring craze with, you know, colored pencils traditionally has turned people a little, some people, a little OCD. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I'm probably using that word too lightly, and I hope not to offend anyone, but it really has, yeah, oh yeah, you can tell the colors I prefer. But yeah, it's really kind of been kind of a backwards relaxation where people are getting really stressed out about finishing these pages and making everything perfect. So my books are kind of the complete opposite of that. So I'm just going to start here, guys.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I'm going to get some water on the page.
I know, okay, so we talked a little bit about the design fee.
Get some color going. Do not be afraid to use color right off the bat and a lot of water right off the bat, guys. Just trust me. The book can handle it.
The more expensive a piece will be because it requires more labor.
And the more water you use in general with this particular paper, the better the paper will respond. If you don't use a lot of water, I'll show you here. If you don't use enough water and you start scrubbing and really pushing it around, and I'm putting a lot of pressure here, guys, you'll get little pills. See those little pills? You will get those. Now, they'll go away when it's dry. But if you just keep it light, use a lot of water, feel free to use a lot of color, and not scrub on the page, guys, you're not going to get pills.
So the pricing is very customized.
Keep that hand moving.
So that way they'll know exactly where the pricing is coming from. We itemize everything.
I do typically start with water. Yeah. Yeah, I use a lot of water first. It's just fun, like you said. You can put water down first and then drop color in.
Well, did you have any other questions?
That's so funny. That's actually Kelly, my communications manager. She is on a call with a prospective client, so that's why you hear about pricing.
We typically have a lot of questions, but I just want to make sure.
So anyway,
there isn't anything
you get a little bonus today. You get to hear Kelly chat about
that you're not already aware of. That you seem to have a really good handle of things already.
All right. Just going to keep moving on here. So as Carla was saying, I do often use a technique where I lay water down first, almost clean water, and then I put color into it. And you can see there how fun that technique is because you get those bursts right away.
Yeah, definitely.
A podcast or something. Oh, geez. Well, I'm glad our spiel sounds like a podcast. That's a good thing, I think. No, that is Kelly helping someone understand our design process a little bit better.
Where they just design, and then
you can also go into the page directly with bold color. Nothing wrong with that. Paper will take it. Someone just said that they just ordered their books. Are you just starting out with watercolor? I'm curious. I didn't even see who said it. I'm sorry, the screen scrolled up way too fast. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story.
But we have clients that come to us that we're working with.
Maybe you didn't order them yet? I'm surprised.
They want to do pieces that we don't create as stationery. So we've done all sorts of things like that for screen printing.
No, you're not just starting out. I know. I didn't realize it was you who said you ordered your books, but I understand because of where you are. It may have taken a little bit longer for them to be available. Anyway.
That sort of thing. So we do.
Anybody have any questions? As always, I am happy to answer, and I do have to apologize. Gotcha. Yes. I am always happy to answer questions on or off topic.
And then also,
I see someone taking screenshots there.
Or if you want to just be the liaison and let us know.
Guys, if you don't know,
we can make sure that we're designing.
There's so many reasons that Painterly Days are not just your average coloring books. But one of the biggest reasons, and I want to get this out there, and a lot of you know about it already, is there is a mission and a story behind these books. It is my story. And it's a story of, oh, thank you. Of course it's okay. You can take pictures. You did convince someone else to buy them. Well, thank you, Maida. So there's a story and a mission behind these books, and that is art for joy's sake, guys. It's it's just something I'm really passionate about.
It's
Let me
definitely
see.
something
I'll
we
pull
can
this
do.
out here. This is our Art for Joy's Sake journals. They've been sold out for quite a while.
Do you have any other
But Art
questions
for Joy's
me?
Sake is my mission. There is a hashtag Art for Joy's Sake
It's very easy.
that you can
You were probably
check
the
out.
easiest
It's
one
very
already.
active on Instagram, and it's Art, A-R-T, for F-O-R, Joy, J-O-Y-S-A-K-E. There's not two S's, just one. And guys, if you're new to watercolor, if you're starting to paint and not sure about what you're doing, or just curious, or looking maybe to join a community of people like yourselves, I would urge you to check out the hashtag, guys. There is a lot going on with that hashtag, and a lot of people stepping out. We will reprint someday. Not sure when, just because there's so much going on right now with the books, but we will reprint someday for sure. But I would urge you to join the community and start showing some of your work. There's a fine line between showing your work too much and showing it for the wrong reasons, but we try to really encourage, with Art for Joy's Sake, showing your work just to become part of a community and feel like you have kindred spirits out there like yourself who are willing to experiment with their art and put themselves out there. Throw that fear aside, put yourself out there, become part of the community, and who knows where it'll take you. So that is the mission behind the books. Really passionate about it. And so I'd love for you guys to share some of what you're working on. Doesn't have to be in the coloring books. A lot of it isn't. So
that's where kind of all of that gets hashed out.
Just pulling back here so you guys can see.
All right, wonderful. Well, I will send over an email with
There you
my
go.
notes, and if you do decide
I
that you
love
wanna
this
get
pattern.
started,
I've
just
painted
let me
it
know.
a couple times already, and it's just so fun. If you guys don't know, my favorite pigment is Opera Rose, or from Daniel Smith, Opera Pink. There she is.
Bye.
Super bright, not the most light fast color, which means it can fade, but I still love it anyway. Hey Kel, somebody thought you were a podcast about pricing.
Oh gosh, don't suggest that.
No, I know.
My hair would turn even more white.
Oh, stop it. Say hi, Kelly.
Thanks, Chrissy. I was just taking a big gulp. Hi.
Say hi. Hearts for Kelly. Yay, Kelly, you're getting a bunch of hearts.
Wow. I need all
She.
the hearts I can get.
That's right. Kelly needs lots of hearts. So anyway, Kelly is awesome. She works with all of our clients. Yes, I know Daniel Smith is amazing. I'm really loving. Do you have Cascade Green? I bet you do. If you have two greens, I bet you have Cascade Green. That Cascade Green blows my mind every time. I love that flower. Look what's happening there. Look at that. Oh. Now I will scoop up that extra water there because that's not really needed. But look at that. When I had my event on, the other night, the women there were just so new, and so many of them, majority of them, had never painted, and I tried to explain to them that right there, sometimes that feels almost like a mistake, is just the beauty of watercolor and the joy and the magic of it. So you guys know. You know. Beautiful. And you know what, too, guys? It's okay to compliment your own work. It's okay to love parts of what you're doing. Some people, I think, feel guilty for that, and I never understood that. Give you a little view there. Guys, you're so quiet today. You're all staying on, but you're quiet. I am happy to answer any questions. Oh, okay. Yes. Get Cascade Green. Make sure it is your next tube from Daniel Smith. Yes, you should appreciate yourself and others. Absolutely. You will not be sorry. Cascade Green is so cool. It's one of those that has a lot of granulation. Good. Glad you're busy. Busy's good most of the time. And it granulates to greens and blues and all sorts of fun stuff. So it's really, really cool. What brush am I using right now? Great question. I have a bad habit of not telling you. How do you start? Oh, what do you recommend? Okay. Okay, so first let me answer the question about the brush. This is Winsor & Newton University series right there. You can get those on MrArt.com. Also Amazon. That's okay. Don't apologize. So someone asked, how do you get started? So can I come back to you with a question? Do you have any watercolor materials, brushes, or anything? Do you have my books? Where are you at with your painting journey? That would be helpful to know. Yes, transparent paints. Yeah, that definitely, if you're doing color theory, you want transparency. So yeah, if you could just get back to me. Someone said they were a beginner. I would love to give you a little bit more direction. But I would just like to get a sense of where you're at, what you have on hand. Do you need paint recommendations, that kind of thing. In terms of technique, though, a great beginning technique that I used a little bit earlier and I will do right here. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for hopping on, Andrea. Beginner technique that's awesome. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Keep them coming. I won't be bashful. I love hearts. Is paint with water first, guys. In the books here, you do not have to be bashful. This is not professional watercolor paper. However, it is a powerhouse of a watercolor paper and will handle a lot of water. And then just take a little bit of color on your brush and start dropping in your color into the wet areas and see how it explodes. Gorgeous. You can rinse your brush then. We're talking about a beginner technique here, guys. And you can move that color around however you'd like. I'm going to leave it pretty textural. I'm going to add another color here. Yeah, guys, someone just mentioned Sandy Allnock. You know, Sandy is a great resource. She's just a much more of a technical mind when it comes to painting and watercolor, something I admire so much. I am much more like emotional and instinctual, and I don't always know all the theory behind all the colors and the makeup of the paint, and I wish I did in a lot of ways, but that's why there's people like Sandy in the world. So definitely check out her YouTube channel for information like that. Shared a technique that you first painted leaves. Is that something I shared here during this scope or somewhere else? I'm forgetting. Or was it the leaves? Oh, I can't remember. You'll have to remind me. This is another technique, a great beginner technique that I just did. Just an equal amount of paint and water on your brush and just lay down color. Yes, the glazing technique. Yeah, I can do that. So just laying down some color simply. Don't feel, thank you, don't feel like you have to fill in every area. And then go back in with another color, maybe a little darker, and drop it into areas. This is also a great beginner technique. A little dry. And there you go. Oh, I am liking the color palette here. It's really fun. Thanks, Carla. Hey, Michelle. Thank you. Glad to have you here, Michelle. We're going to have an event for you soon, I think, which is exciting. Thank you. We're just painting here. Oh, see what happened there? Look how pretty that is. See, sometimes with watercolor, guys, you gotta just let it be. And this is the hardest thing to get across. Yes. just letting it be. You know, up here, I just laid down some color so much it's still wet, and I think a lot of people's instinct, and I get it because it's my instinct too, is to go back in and add something and fuss and move it around. But guys, look as that dries. Look at the beautiful stuff happening. It doesn't need me right now. Let it go. And then this one down here, where'd it go? I let this one go. And look what's happening. Hey, Lori. Oh, great. Okay. So you've got a set, you've got some brushes. Great. So the thing that I would say is just start. The one thing is you need an awesome brush. An awesome brush doesn't have to be expensive. If your brush isn't coming to a good point, like this one is, see that good point there? Yes. If your brush isn't coming to a good point, I highly recommend you go to MrArt.com. I'm going to spend about $5 and pick up this brush. It's the Winsor & Newton University Series, number 4. You could paint with this brush for a year and be happy. So that's my first recommendation. Nice. We're just talking a little bit about beginners and how to get started. The other thing that I would recommend, very simply, and I'm going to keep painting here, guys, as I jabber away, for beginners, and even for someone who just feels like they need a little kick in the butt, they need a little refresher. Guys, I would recommend this. Get yourself a couple sheets of watercolor paper. If you can, get good quality watercolor paper, even though it's practice. Maybe it's on the back of something that you've already messed around with. But the last thing you want to do when you're practicing is depress yourself by using subpar quality paper. If you're practicing and you are not happy with what you're with what you're seeing, you're going to bum yourself out, right? At least that's my opinion. You're going to bum yourself out. So try to pick up some decent watercolor paper. Arches makes, I think through Canson, makes pads of paper. They're more affordable than the Arches blocks. Pick one of those up. You won't spend as much, but you'll have really decent paper to practice on. And then what I recommend, and I just did a voiceover for the next YouTube video going live later today, is take about 4 pages and dedicate each page to a type of brush stroke. So a page full of leaves, and try to use one brush, one color, but make as many different types of leaf shapes, lengths, widths as you can, and get used to how your brush and your hand work together. Lots of pressure on the brush, not a lot of pressure on the brush. Do the same thing with a really thin brush, maybe a number 2, and fill a page with thin, graceful lines, and see how thin and perfect and graceful you can get them. But fill that whole page. You could do another page with maybe a number 2 brush again, and fill that page with somewhat circular shapes. Think cherries, berries, flower buds, that kind of thing. And see how good you can get at making somewhat round shapes freehand with just one size brush. So it isn't busy work. It may feel like it at the beginning, but what it is, it's, when you're an athlete, you've got to, build yourself up. You've got to work out your muscles. You've got to loosen yourself up. It's the same concept when you're painting. So there we go. There's my beginner advice. Hope that helps. Do you pre-wet the paints from Michaels? White chalky came to the top of mine. I know, they're weird. I tend to tell beginners to pre-wet the paints from Michaels, but I myself don't. It's not really a problem. The Michaels Artist Loft paints, what Michelle's talking about, definitely have a more of a chalky finish when they're dry. It doesn't bother me so much, because they're affordable, vibrant option when you're just starting out. So the paper I recommended for beginners, guys, you know what? Let me just get up here and go show you one, because I don't think I have it on my desk. There's the studio. Say hey, guys. Hey, it's a mess in here. Say hi, Katie. Oh gosh, I have to get on a ladder to get these. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Ah! So the question was the more affordable but good, good quality paper that I recommend using. No, it's okay. This is it. This is Arches, but it's in a pad where you just rip from the top. Yeah, see, and it's made by Canson. You can get this on MrArt.com. I think also on Amazon. Yeah, so this is a great paper. I use this for some of my paintings, but I do definitely use it for practice or sketching. Because like I said, yes, paint drills, exactly. So like I said, I have a problem. Oh, here's the rest of the studio. Yay. I have a problem with using paints, using paper that is really crappy quality, even for practice, because you're going to bum yourself out. Cozy, yeah. Here's a look, guys. Cozy and messy. Here's my inspiration wall. Yay. Oh, it needs some new inspiration. Oh, and we're not on fire. That's my diffuser, essential oil diffuser. Anyway, there we go. That was the long, complicated answer to a very simple question. Oh, guys, I do love Fabriano Artistico. Some might kind of balk at the price, but yes. Will you please post a pic of that paint drill? That'd be great. Carla, can you let everybody know what your Instagram handle is? So if they want to see an example of that paint drill, guys, get ready to take a screenshot of this. Carla's going to show us that paint drill later on Instagram. How to avoid making muddy areas. Oh gosh, that's a good point. So my best advice for making muddy areas is to clean your brush often. That's the biggest thing you can do. If you are going into your palette again and again with a brush that's half clean, your colors are just going to get muddier and muddier and muddier and muddier as you go. Yes. My other recommendation, yeah, of course, yes, thank you, Maida. Don't mix complementaries heavily. So if you're mixing, say, a pink with a shade of green, you're going to make a shade of greenish pinky brown. Oh, great idea. 2 to 3 jars of water. Guys, I actually keep a water jug under my desk. And I will change my water often. So that's another great point. Another thing to know, and I've got something really cool happening here, and I'm going to show you because that leaf is just right here, just on the borderline of getting muddy. So when I see something like that, and because muddiness happens often when you're just mixing, there we go, there's Carla's Instagram at Art Whisper. Guys, check her out later. So when I see something like that happening and I'm on the brink of muddy, the best advice I have for you is walk away. Walk away, walk away, walk away. Don't lift. Don't try to scrub it out. Just let it dry. It's often going to dry and recover that muddy area. Yeah, clean water, clean water, clean water. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. Awesome, guys. Any other questions? These are good questions today. Love it. I think another great thing with a beginner technique is just to play around with doing what I'm doing here, which is just dropping, one color into another and letting yourself see what happens. Don't push it around too much. Just let yourself see what the possibilities are, how watercolor moves, how it acts. So there's another painting drill for you. Make little, circles of color, real wet color, and then drop another color into them. and get yourself really familiar with how that paint is acting in front of you. Now look at that. See, I'm saying to myself, oh, holy crow, I've got a ton of paint on there. But I kind of like it. I don't know. I'm getting my paper towel ready, but I don't know if I want to get rid of it. I think I'm going to, though. So got my paper towel up here. I'm going to go with a dry, clean brush and just move ever so softly against the surface. I'm going to blot and then do it again. Just lift a little bit of that out. I'm going to clean off my brush and drop a little more paint in, believe it or not. And I'm a little bit happier with that. So one of the techniques that someone had mentioned earlier was a glazing technique. I'm going to go back to the pomegranate here, guys, and see how I have a little bit of pilling. I'm just going to rub over it lightly. Got to do this when it's completely dry and it's gone. So a glazing technique is going over an area that's already has color on it, wetting it again with a very light touch, and start working in some additional layers on top. There's a great example of some glazing. Glazing takes a ton of patience. But you can get some really stunning results out of it. Go over here and add some in. I'm going to pull out some of that color with a clean dry brush, ever so slightly there. I love that. Such a small little area, but oh, look how pretty. So pretty. Cleaning my brush again. Whenever you hear that dinging noise, that means I'm cleaning my brush. So for those who are asking about the muddy question, there's your answer. Just more glazing here. I'm adding over a completely dry area. Clean, slightly wet brush. Working in some details here at the top of the pomegranate. Pushing that color around. A little tiny bit of something there that is just so pretty. Clean dry brush. Remember, every time you hear that little tinging, that's me cleaning my brush. You can see some of that glazing over here. The first glazing that I put down dried out nice. Thank you. I go back into this little kumquat. I can't remember if it was supposed to be a kumquat or a cherry or what. So it is what it is today. This is completely dry, so I'm going in with some heavier touches. Cleaning my brush, blotting it just a little bit, and then softening what I just added. Adding a little touch of strong contrast down here. And there you go. Some nice contrast. Now, I'm gonna just give you a little peek into thinking about some negative space. I think it was supposed to be a cherry. Oh well. Let's start thinking about some negative space. I painted this area here. When you're working in the books and you're wanting to paint your background, try to work in smaller areas so you don't get any harsh lines drying, which basically means if you don't think you can finish an area in the time you have left to paint, don't start that area, because you're going to have to end it and you'll have a really rough area that dries with a harsh line that you're not going to want. So work little areas by little areas. Now, right now I know that looks like a weird spot of blue. I do, definitely. Yeah, you can use more than one. I mean, I could add a little bit of the Opera Rose here. I'm going to go over here and fill in this little area. I've actually really enjoyed working on the backgrounds in these books. Big time. It's really relaxing and satisfying. What about the backgrounds are harder for you? Is it, yeah, just, I'm curious. See how that dried there a little bit, so I'm gonna, yeah, well, I think too, people get really nervous about the backgrounds because they often wait to start them until they're done with all the foreground. So I don't. If I feel like I'm gonna want a really bold piece, I will paint them as I'm doing the foregrounds, and it doesn't feel as overwhelming or intimidating, because I think you get that feeling, oh my gosh, I'm gonna ruin this. I'm not gonna like it anymore. But if you're doing it as you're going along, you're considering the background with every other part of your painting. So there's just a peek at where that background is going. Yeah, so just try to paint the background as you go. Good, I'm glad. This brush is a little bigger than I would usually use. Thank you for this kind of area, but I'm either being lazy or wanting to challenge myself. I'm not sure which. Alright, just keep filling it in, having fun with this, guys. Again, that's another awesome thing about the watercoloring books. You can approach them like you would a traditional coloring book, section by section. Aw, well, I'm glad you like the blue. Or you can really approach them as a whole big composition and fill in bigger areas. at a time, which you couldn't really do with a colored pencil in a traditional coloring book. And there we go. Guys, I am running out of juice here, so I'm going to be wrapping things up. But there you have it. There you have it. Starting, I'm going to pull back so you can really get a feel for that background. I heard to use the largest brush you can successfully. I love that tip. I do. I do use that a lot. It pushes you and it helps you learn how to control that brush and get what you need out of it, even though it's probably not the perfect brush for you. It really, when you're using the largest brush you can in an area, you're pushing yourself to learn how much pressure to put down, how much pressure is too much, how much is not enough, that kind of thing. All right, guys, any questions? I think the conversation was really just, the suggestion was to use the largest. Thank you. Please try. And guys, please share on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter with the Art for Joy's Sake hashtag. I'm going to write it down here so you have it. I am not a lettering gal, but I'm going to give it a whirl. Art for Joy's sake. So please take some of these tips, guys, and let us see what you're working on using that hashtag. I'd love to keep a conversation going. I do respond to all comments. Yay! Take that book on vacation, girl. I do respond to all comments. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm going to take a screenshot of that. Haha, you brought me joy today. Well, I'm glad. And guys, if you have a story, if you discover something as you're painting, I am collecting stories about Art for Joy's Sake and these books, or even just stories of how artwork is changing your life and giving you joy. Feel free to email me, hello@christyrice.com, or give a call. It's 1-877-RICE Inc., RICEINK. I would love to hear from you. And I know I probably shouldn't have given my number out, but that's okay. You can find it easily. I would love to hear your story. I want to see your work online. I want you to join the community, but I'd love to hear your story because I'm trying to get the word out there, guys, that watercolor can really change things for us. So thanks so much, guys, for hopping on. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for all the awesome questions, and we will see you soon. Thank you, thank you. Yes. All right, guys, take care. I'm going to give you another look here. Love that leaf. I know, I haven't left yet. Love that leaf. Yeah, definitely, guys. This is the prime example here. Letting watercolor be sometimes and not overworking it. Man, you can get some really cool effects. Look at that. Love that. Such beauty. Love it, love it. Alright, guys, I am seriously leaving for good for now. One more look at that leaf. The almost muddy leaf, but see, I let it dry. It's not muddy anymore. Take care, guys.